is the rough and ready. Well, actually, it's a tough enough. This is Mr. Kevin Stauffer. He hails out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. Single engine modified, running a supercharged Chevrolet big block, 557 cubic inches, 871 blower. You can see the bird catcher blower hood. Watch the blower hood, the injector hood on this tractor. When he gets it going, those blower hoods, those butterflies will open wide open. Well, he's got a good tight hitch. He's the first man out here in the class. So let's see what he can do out here, ladies and gentlemen, from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, the tough enough Mr. Kevin Stauffer. I'll tell you, that was a good run for Kevin Stauffer, ladies and gentlemen. He was the first blower in this class, so... But y'all have to weigh 7,800 pounds of weight, maximum including the driver. Coming up next right now, this is Ian Ericker. Another single engine modified tractor. Big block Chevrolet, 871 blower. He calls this tractor unstable. Ian hails out of Poolesville, Maryland. Of course, he's surrounded by a roll cage. All pullers in this class must have a roll cage or roll bar around them. Full fire suit, full face helmet, of course all the safety equipment on it. These tractors turn wheel speeds of 70 to 80 miles an hour, so they're going to make sure the onboard, the rear kill switch is tightly fastened. So let's see what he can do out here this evening. Ladies and gentlemen, from Poolesville, Maryland, Mr. Ian Ericker. Ian Ericker, ladies and gentlemen, with the unstable. We'll have a distance as you can until you stop. The first two classes will be a floating finish line. The last two classes are doing a floating finish line, but the top three will come back for a pull-off. So coming to the sled right now, this is Mark Culberson. Mark hails out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. The tractor he calls Sparky. Now this is twin 464. And as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, they are not supercharged. They are naturally aspirated. Of course, he's running fuel injection on these tractors. As you can tell with the bird catcher type blower hood on it. Of course, this is out of the Forester stables out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Mark's been pulling for about 10 to 15 years now. So it's going to be a little different sound with these twin aspirated Fords. How many Ford fans we got out here tonight? Well, this is your chance. Here's one of the verses of the Ford-powered tractors here tonight. Green lights on the sled. Track's all clear. Green flag comes on. Ladies and gentlemen, from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, Mark Culberson, the Sparky. Good run for Mark Culberson, ladies and gentlemen. Big 460 Fords on that tractor. We'll have a distance for you in just a pulling here in Libertytown. And as you can hear coming up to the sled right now, this is Ricky Blizzard. Ricky hails out of Mount Airy, Maryland, driving a tractor he calls Barely Affordable. Twin 460 Fords, get set up like the Sparky. naturally aspirated with the bird catcher blower hoods on it. Now these engines are set crank to crank, so that means this tractor will run like a 16-cylinder. So we got all sorts of different combinations here. The last one they pulled, that was a stagger type setup where they had two drive lines going into a specially built Banner Brothers mixer box. Well, this one's a crank to crank. Let's see what he can do here. 305's the mark to beat from Mount Airy, Maryland. Ladies and gentlemen, the very affordable Mr. Ricky Blizzard. Good run for Ricky Blizzard, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a distance for you in just a moment. I know he's scratching up there in the top. We'll have a measure for you in just a moment. Very strong steel. It could take a lot of torque. That's why for you IH collectors, you can't find too many of the F30s. It's a modified. Yes. Coming up right now. Dave Forrester. Dave Bill's out in Pennsylvania. He's driving a tractor called the Boss 9. 64s. Another twin Ford combination. So you Ford fans, you liking this? There's a lot of twin Fords out here. I have to say, how many Ford fans do we have here tonight? What about you Chevrolet fans? Well, we got Ford and Chevrolet blocks in here. Don't know if anyone's running a Chrysler Hemi, but I think it's all dominated by Chevrolet and Fords here tonight. I think we also have one tractor that's running an Oldsmobile engine. So we got a good combination here. Of course, a big thank you to the Libertytown Volunteer Fire Department for letting us use the grounds here for this great big event. This is about the 5th year I think we've had this great event here. Well, here she comes, ladies and gentlemen. Our first female competitor coming out here onto the track tonight. This is Amber Blizzard. Amber hails out of Mount Airy, Maryland. She's driving a tractor that's called Unaffordable. Twin Fords, as you can see, they are stacked. So that means she's got 2 clutches that she's got to deal with, 2 drive lines that goes into a specially built Banner Brothers mixer box. It goes into one drive line to the transmission, and it goes right to the rear end. Ricky right now is backing her into the sled. It's kind of hard to see backing in with those roll cages. Of course, all tractors in competition do have to have a roll cage, a 4-point seat belt. All drivers must wear a fire suit. Of course, they all have automatic kill switches on these tractors. In case they should break away from the sled, it'll pull a cable in the back, and that will ground out the ignition system, thus shutting the engines down immediately. Now, I don't know how long she's been pulling, so you ladies can stand up and cheer for her. And she's getting a good tight hitch. As she's getting herself, well, looks like she's having a little issue getting in gear. She's got her in gear, ladies and gentlemen. She's got to tighten up the chain. She's got a good tight hitch. The green light's on the sled. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mount Airy, Maryland, driving the unaffordable Miss Amber Blizzard. I don't know, I see it. Well, they got the engine shut down. They had a little issue. Let's give her a nice round of applause for Amber Blizzard, ladies and gentlemen. That was a hard run for her. We'll get the message for you in just a moment. I've seen a lot of smoke coming from one of the engines. I hope it's nothing too serious. 291.14 for Amber Blizzard. Do a duet. Well, coming up to the sled right now, this is Tom Kennedy. Tom hails out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. A tractor that he calls Old Reliable. Single engine modified, 871 blower on this tractor. Of course, I think this tractor ran back in the early to mid 1980s. Of course, when they had the old 5,200 pound modified class, of course, that was in the old glory days of the sport. Now he's got set up as a 7,800 pound interstate modified. Tell you what, that thing's idling nice and smooth for a big supercharged engine on it. Let's see what he can do out here tonight. He's got a good tight hitch. The green light's on, the green flag drops from Greencastle, Pennsylvania, Mr. Tom Kennedy. Wow, good run for Tom Kennedy, ladies and gentlemen. He's in the ready area. And this is Kevin Stauffer's second tractor here. This is the tractor he calls the Rough and Ready. Now this one's powered by a 557 cubic inch blown Chevrolet. 871 blower on the top. Of course, running the bird catcher blower hood on the top, that big injector hood. Kevin hails out of Waynesboro, Pennsylvania. The mark to beat is 305.58 by Dale Forrester. We'll see what he can do out here tonight. He's backed into the sled. They're hooking up the chain and the kill switch. Everything's all hooked. He's going to get a good tight hitch. He's got a good tight hitch. Green light is on the flag. Ladies and gentlemen, from Waynesboro, Pennsylvania, on the Rough and Ready, Mr. Kevin Stauffer. Tom hails out of Finksburg, Maryland, on a tractor that he calls Ford Play. Interesting name on this tractor. He calls it that because it's powered by a big 540 cubic inch Ford engine, 871 blower on the top. Like I say, the pull isn't over till the last man or woman hooks to the sled. And over the years, as I've been on the mic, I've seen many a pulls won by the last four in the class. So we'll see what he can do out here tonight. He's getting a good tight hit. Ladies and gentlemen, from Finksburg, Maryland, driving the Ford Play, Mr. Tom Blizzard. wasn't good, ladies and gentlemen. He had a front linkage brake on his steering. He lost his steering. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Tom Blizzard. Tough ride for him. But looks like it'll be a simple fix. We will need a front end loader to get him off the track. Ladies and gentlemen, give him a nice round of applause. He took a rough ride for Tom Blizzard. Let him know you're glad he came out tonight. .204 feet, .434, Tom Blizzard. So we'll have the final results for you in just a moment. Well, as we're getting ready for the next class, the 2.6 Pro Stock 4-wheel drive trucks, they will be next. Well, ladies and gentlemen, give him a nice round of applause for Tom Blizzard. You'll get the tractor put back together, just a little linkage may have broke. State is Dale Forrester out of Scotland, Pennsylvania with the Boss 9. Third is Mark Culberson out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania at 305.06. Finishing fourth is Kevin Stolfer's Tough Enough at 302.98. And finishing fifth is Ian Ericker out of Poolsville, Maryland at 301.95. Those are our top 5 finishers here, ladies and gentlemen. Now we're getting ready to move on into our next class, the 2.6 Pro Stock 4-wheel drives. So how many Dodge fans we got here tonight? Well, I think this class is going to be dominated by the Dodge trucks here tonight. And right now, backing into the sled is Jason Duncan. Jason hails out of Kearneysville, West Virginia. Because his truck not quite right. Of course, the 2.6 means the intake on the turbo cannot be no bigger than 2.6. Of course, they're all running diesel engines on them. Of course, all these tractors have what's called an air damper over the intake. In case this truck breaks from the sled, it will shut down the air and shut the engine off. So let's see what he can do. Our first puller out tonight on the not quite right from Kearneysville, West Virginia, Mr. Jason Duggan. That was a not bad run for Jason Duggan, but he is the first puller in this class. And of course, we like to say, of course, we've been talking about the carnival that's coming up the 17th through the 22nd of August. Of course, every night of the carnival, they got the wild mechanical bull ride, and if you guys or gals are feeling a little brave, go ahead and get up on that mechanical bull and see what you can do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, how many Ford fans we got here? Well, here comes our first Ford backing into the sled. This is Casey Johnson. Well, Casey must be out of Virginia. He has a truck that he calls politically incorrect. Now, I don't know if he's running the V8 International or if he's running a Cummins engine in it. We're going to see how he does out here this evening. He'll be the first measurable pull we'll have here this evening. As you can hear behind me, the light limiteds are lining up. That'll be the next class after the 2.6. So, ladies and gentlemen, out of the great state of Virginia, the politically incorrect of Casey Johnson. Well, I don't know, ladies and gentlemen, something let go on his truck. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Casey Johnson, ladies and gentlemen, out of the great state of Virginia. In 1974, the first four-wheel drive pull was held down in Winchester, Virginia. So the East Coast in Winchester, Virginia is the place where four-wheel drive pulling got started. Of course, they had a lot of tow trucks that night. A lot of trucks got broken up, but of course they've come a long way as well with all the heavy equipment and heavy axles they use. Now this is the newest class in pulling, the diesel road stock trucks. And backing into the sled right now is Cody Anderson, 91 Dodge. Cody hails out of Berryville, Virginia. He's got a big Cummins underneath that, under the hood of his big Dodge. Well, Melanie Foster just told me that Cody is actually, this is his first year pulling. So he's getting his feet wet trying to figure this truck out. Let's see what he can do out here tonight. From Berryville, Virginia, Mr. Cody Anderson. He's got to clean it out. I don't know if he's got too much fuel or not enough water or vice versa. Trying to get her cleaned out. Also going to check to see, make sure that the air damper didn't accidentally drop on him. The air damper is the device that shuts these engines down. Diesel engines do not have any spark plugs. So the only way they can shut these engines down is they actually got to shut the air off on these engines. Looks like that could have been it. It could have been an air damper may have dropped on him. So they're going to try and open it back up and get it fired back up. We're going to see if he can get her started back up. I think that's all it was, and probably the air damper just shut on him. Well, he got her fired right back up. Apparently that was the issue. Okay. All right. Attention out there, anyone who's a welder, who's got his welding equipment on his truck, Tom Blizzard needs you out in his pit area, so if you got a welder, he'd greatly appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, from Berryville, Virginia, Mr. Cody Anderson. Ooh. Well, this is one of the things about being a rookie, trying to get everything sorted out. Well, I guess he's done for this evening. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's give Cody Anderson a round of applause. He's having a tough go at it. It's his first year pulling, so he's having some problems with the air damper, the kill switch on the vehicle. It seems like the pin ain't quite holding down and it's shutting the air off on him. But he'll get it figured out as he gets his feet wet in this sport. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we'll find out from trackside what's going on with him, with Cody Anderson, and we'll go from there. Right now, backing into the sled, this is Michael Duggan, and he has a truck that he says carbon credit this. Well, Michael hails out of Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Big Dodge 2500. Now he's running single wheels on the back. You know, some of these boys are running the duals on the back. He's running singles on the back. Of course, you notice that big weight box on the front. All the weight's on the front of this truck. There's no weight on the back. And you say, well, what holds the back of the truck down? Actually, it's the weight of the sled that actually holds the back of the truck down. They want to have as much weight over the front wheels as they can, because unlike the tractors and the two-wheel drive trucks, they don't want that front end to come up. They want all four wheels planted to the track. Ladies and gentlemen, from Shepherdstown, West Virginia, driving carbon credit is Michael Duggan. Good run for Michael Duggan, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a measurement for you in just a moment. Of course, the hotbed of four-wheel drive pulling is in run. Right now, backing into the sled is Justin Gray. Justin hails out of Hedgesville, West Virginia, on a truck that he calls Rehab. Well, I don't know where he got the name Rehab. But I'll tell you, over the years, some of these boys get very creative with the names on their vehicles. But I kind of look at it like this. You know, some people say to me, he says, you're kind of addicted to this sport. I said, yeah, but I'll tell you what, it's a very healthy addiction. Keeps my mind going and keeps me busy. Well, that's true too. But then again, like I say, you know, with a lot of these young people that are always smoking, joking, and doping, you know, they're spending their money on that. I said, well, I'll spend my money on my pulling tractor and take her down to the track and let her rip. And I'll tell you, it's a kind of an exhilarating thrill ride to take a ride on one of these tractors, whether it be farm stock or the super stocks. But let's see what he can do out here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, from Hedgesville, West Virginia, the Rehab, Justin Gray. Getting it pumped for all this track, ladies and gentlemen. Justin Gray out of Hedgesville, West Virginia. We'll have the measurement here in just a moment. I'll tell you what, I hope you're enjoying the show here tonight. Of course, I'm being helped by my statisticians, Melanie Foster and Ashley Rippian. They're the ones keeping the numbers straight for me, but they're supposed to be keeping me straight, and I'm finding out I'm trying to keep them straight. Oh, we're having a lot of fun here tonight. So, I hope you're enjoying it here tonight. The Light Limited Pro Stocks are lining up. Well, right now coming to the sled is Chad Lemasters. Well, Chad hails out of Hedgesville, West Virginia. Well, he has a truck that's called Overdosed. Well, last puller was Rehab, and well, like I say, they're very clever with their names on these vehicles. Of course, I remember back growing up, I've been following this sport since I was 5 years old. Of course, I'm 43 now and very active with tractor pulling. Of course, I'm a farm stock puller. Been doing that for 22 years. I run a tractor that's called the Red Baron M. Of course, I run it on the antique pulling circuit. I more or less call it more of a hot stock tractor because I got her pretty well tweaked. Did pretty well today at the Howard County Fair with my hired gun driver, Jason Points. So I'll see how things go in our next event at Arcadia. But right now, let's see what Chad LeMaster can do here out of Hedgesville, West Virginia. The green flag drops. Let's see what he can do out here tonight. Driving the Overdose, ladies and gentlemen, from Hedgesville, West Virginia, Chad LeMaster. I think he's up there towards the top. Let's give a nice round of applause for Chad LeMaster out of Hedgesville, West Virginia. And coming to the track right now, this is Matt Foster. Matt hails out of Boyd's, Maryland. And of course, Melanie Foster, my statistician, that's her husband backing into the sled. On a truck that he calls No Mercy. Well, I'll tell you what, none of these people showed no mercy when they put the hammer down on these vehicles. Of course, you know, my philosophy is when I hook to the sled, I put it full throttle and try and take it out the gate. And I'll tell you, I've succeeded a few times, made a few pull-offs myself. But that's going to be his goal, is to beat, right now, 284.10. Got a good tight hitch, tightening up the chain. Got a good tight hitch. Green lights on the Terminator sled. All clear on the track. The green flag drops on them. Ladies and gentlemen, from Boyd's, Maryland, driving the 97 Dodge, this is the No Mercy of Matt Foster. I'll tell you what, I think he may have taken over the #1 spot. We will find out in just a moment. Well, actually, this is the last puller in the class. We have 2 more in the class. So this is Cody Anderson. Of course, Cody's one of the new rookies here in the interstate circuit. 91 Dodge, W250. Of course, Cody hails out of Berryville, Virginia. Locking the hubs up where the front wheels will turn. Hopefully they got the issue taken care of with that air damper on the intake part of the turbocharger. That is the safety device in case the truck should break away from the sled. It shuts the air down on this engine and shuts the engine down. That's the only way these diesels can be shut down. So let's see what he can do out here tonight from Berryville, Virginia. Driving the 91 Dodge, Mr. Cody Anderson. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, he's right up there with them. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Cody Anderson out of Berryville, Virginia, one of our new pullers on the interstate circuit. We will have a measure for you in just a moment. This is Jason Duggan. Jason hails out of Kearneysville, West Virginia, on the truck he calls Not Quite Right. Well, he was the first puller in this class. He went 2:53.05. So that's his mark he's got to beat. Like I say, the odds makers in the casinos in Atlantic City say the odds are 5-1 that they will do better the second time out. So let's see if he can beat the odds out here tonight. He's the last puller in this class. Right now, Matt Foster's leading the class at 3:02.41. So that's the mark he's got to beat to take this tilt home. We do have 3 exhibition hooks in this class. But let's see what he can do here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, on the Not Quite Right from Kearneysville, West Virginia, Jason Duggan. Well, he didn't beat the odds, but let's give him a nice round of applause for Jason Duggan out of Kearneysville, West Virginia. And his mark at 147.19. Give him a nice round of applause. Let him know you're glad he came out here tonight, put on a great show for Jason Duggan. Matt hails out of Finksburg, Maryland. Of course, he's running an exhibition room. We have 3 here that are running an exhibition. I guess for Matt, he's just want to see what his truck does out here tonight. He's got a good tight hitch. Green lights on the sled. Giving the all clear sign, the green flags comes down on them. Ladies and gentlemen from Finksburg, Maryland, this is Matt Capel. For Matt Capel, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Matt, all the way from Finksburg, Maryland. He wanted to give this truck a little tryout. Kept her all together. Well, we got some life out there. I hope you're enjoying the action here tonight. If you want to see more interstate pulling, you can go to the Interstate Pulling's website, or you can go to easternextreme.com, look up the interstate schedule for all the pulling events throughout the 4-state area. Interstate runs in Maryland, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, and Virginia. So if you want to check out on any interstate pulls, you can go ahead and check on easternextreme.com. They do have the interstate schedules on there. Backing into the sled right now, this is Michael Ring. Michael hails out of Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Dodge 2500. Of course, I'm looking back in the pit area. Of course, the green machine back here, that's owned by Ken Rippian. One of his crew members is wearing the green machine shirt, but wearing an International Harvester hat. So that's kind of interesting. But let's see what Michael Ring can do on the track. He's bringing her up. Let's see what we can do out here tonight from Shepherdstown, West Virginia, Mr. Michael Ring. Good run for Mike. Michael Ring, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a distance for you in just a moment. Let's give him a nice round of applause. Michael Ring out of Shepherdstown, West Virginia. Came all the way here to Libertytown right now. He pulled here last night. Did a little tweaking to the truck last night. He says, I'm coming back to see what else I can do. This is the War Wagon, ladies and gentlemen, of Buster Adams. Buster hails out of Thurmont, Maryland. 92 Dodge. Well, I'll tell you, don't judge the book by its cover. Yeah, it may not be the best looking truck that's backing into the sled, but I'll tell you what, mechanically, this is one of the most sound trucks you'll ever hear run. But of course, back in the early days of pulling, they didn't care what the tractors looked like as long as they could get it down the track. One of the legends of the sport had one of the butt-ugliest tractors you ever wanted to see, but no one could touch him. And of course, I'm talking about the legendary David Stengel. He had a Minneapolis molding that was called Solid Junk. Well, they call it Solid Junk, but he took first place and won a few Grand National titles and a few Indy Super Pulls. So you can't judge the book by its cover. So let's see what he can do out here tonight, driving the War Wagon, ladies and gentlemen, from Thurmont, Maryland, Mr. Buster Adams. Well, I told you, ladies and gentlemen, don't judge the book by its cover. That is one of the best running trucks that runs here. He runs here every year, puts on a great show. Give him a nice round of applause for the War Wagon, ladies and gentlemen. Buster Adams from Thurmont, Maryland, going away from night. And of course, they got the big mechanical bull that'll be here. We got advanced ride ticket sales up at the blue tent where the t-shirts are being sold for $15. And the ladies auxiliary, they'll be selling a 50-50 raffle tickets for the great carnival coming up in a couple of weeks. Well, back into the sled, this is Ken Ripien. Of course, I want to say a big thank you to Ken Ripien. He's put a lot of countless effort to bring this pool on. He's one of our promoters here tonight and also one of our sponsors. Big John Deere, he calls the Green Machine. One turbocharger. They run single cut tires on these tractors. 7,700 pound maximum weight, including the driver. 466 cubic inch is the limit. They run a P pump, water injection, and they also run intercoolers. So let's see what he can do out here tonight. Our promoter here tonight for the Libertytown Pool from Libertytown, Maryland, your hometown man, driving the Green Machine, Mr. Kenny Ripien. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good run for Ken Ripien. I'll tell you, give him a nice round. Of course, looking down some of our fine sponsors, we got Huffer Trucking, Stanball Welding, Kaiser Garver Well Drilling, TLS Landscaping, Myers Plastering, Heritage Animal Hospital, R.J. Geisler, State Farm Insurance, Vince Mamone. Of course, Ken's Lawn Care Service, Sunset Supply of Libertytown, some of our fine sponsors. Well, back into the sled right now is Mark Smith. Mark hails out of Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, driving a big Ford 9000. We got a nice mix of tractors. We have one John Deere, we have a few cases, a couple of Fords, and I think we only got, from the way it looks, one International. So let's see what he can do out here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, driving his 9000 Ford, Mark Smith. Oh, good run for Mark Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Through the 22nd, the annual carnival will be in town. Of course, all week of the carnival, they have the wild mechanical bull ride. So if you want to beat the bull, get up on her and see how long you can last. Of course, we got the advanced ride ticket sales here for $15. A lot of great shows here for the carnival coming up. Right now, backing into the sled. Looks like it's going to be our only red one here tonight. Well, this is Jeff Michelacci. Jeff hails out of Clifford Township, Pennsylvania. Case IH Puma 140. A tractor that he calls Demented. Of course, Jeff's been pulling for a long, long time. Former Keystone Nationals champion up at the Pennsylvania Farm Complex Center in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. This is one of the toughest internationals on the circuit. Let's see what he can do out here tonight. 334 is the mark he's got to beat and get in the top 3 for the pull-off. Green flag drops. Ladies and gentlemen, from Clifford Township, Pennsylvania, driving the Demented, Mr. Jeff Michelacci. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, he's right up there. We'll have a measurement for you in around 60,000 pounds. So they've developed it to where they can put all 60,000 pounds on that skid pan to shut these tractors and trucks down. Of course, I'd like to say a big thank you to all our volunteers. Of course, Jeremy Heflin on the big 1206, he's running the roller tractor. Big thank you to the Glad Hill Tractor Mart for the use of the scraper, along with Wassler and Sons for the scraper. Central Maryland Antique Tractor Club with the roller. Well, backing into the sled right now is Jason Wakel. Jason hails out of Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania, on a New Holland that he calls Unleashed. The New Holland tractor was from the old Ford tractors when Fiat bought the Ford and New Holland division out. They just formed it and made it straight up New Holland. Jason's been pulling for about 5 to 6 years now. This is one of your first big blue ones. How many blue fans do we have out here tonight? How about John Deere fans? How about the IH fans? Do we have any Case fans here? We got a nice mix of all sorts of tractors in this class. Right now from Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania, driving the Unleashed, Mr. Jason Wakel. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, he's right up there in the top. We'll have a measurement for you equivalent to the Daytona 500, the Indy 500, the U.S. Nationals, as well as the Super Bowl. That's the biggest pull of the whole year. Of course, that's at the Wood County Fairgrounds there in Bowling Green, Ohio. Of course, any of you fans out there that have the old antique tractors, the antique tractor pullers are going to have an antique tractor pull Tuesday night at 6:30 in Leetown, West Virginia. They will have an antique tractor pull there at the Jefferson County Fair. Yours truly will be in competition with the Red Baron, and we'll see how well I do. Had some mechanical issues today, but I'll get that straightened out. Well, backed into the sled right now is Matt Smith. Matt hails out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, with a New Holland that he calls Fast Forward. We're going to see what he does out here tonight. Right now, the mark to beat to get into the pull-off is 337.10. And that's by his brother, Mark Smith. So let's see what he can do out here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, as the green flag drops from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, driving the Fast Forward New Holland, Mr. Matt Smith. Wow! Right now, coming to the sled, this is Cole Forrester. Now, this is a third-generation driver, ladies and gentlemen. His grandfather, Jay Forrester, got pulling back in the early 1970s. Of course, his father, Corey, a past East Coast Series champion. But also Corey and some of his guys packed up the tractors, went out to California. They took his alcohol super stock out there, ran against the modifieds out in California on their West Coast Series. And ladies and gentlemen, his father won the West Coast Series with his super stock tractor going up against the modified tractors. Scott Kiskaden won the limited pro stock title out there in California. So they represented the East Coast very well out there. But Cole Forrester's backed into the sled. A Ford TW15 that he calls a Super Blue. He's been pulling for about 3 years now. Good to see the young kids doing something besides smoking, joking, and doping. He says, I'd rather go tractor pulling. So let's see what he can do out here tonight from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. The third-generation driver, Mr. Cole Forrester on the Super Blue. What a good run for Cole Forrester laying out. Of course, they're running for points. Of course, one who accumulates the most points will be declared the Interstate Point Series champion for 2015. Well, backing into the sled right now is Justin Martin. Justin hails out of Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania. A TM130 New Holland. We got 3 more left in the class, and we do have 1 exhibition hook. But right now on the track, green lights on the sled. Looking down the track, make sure it's all clear. The green flag comes down on him. Ladies and gentlemen, from Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania, driving his New Holland, Mr. Justin Martin. Wow, ladies and gentlemen. He may have shook up the top 3. We'll find out in just a moment. Let's give a nice round of applause for Justin Martin out of John Deere G's. Of course, after the Vietnam War, they started modifying, souping up the tractors. They were going down the track so fast, the farmhands would jump on the skid pan. Couldn't jump on them quick enough. They were getting their feet run over by the skid pans. So they developed the weight transfer machine. Of course, this sport's come a long way from the early days of the sport, where these pullers will run tractors with either narrow or single front wheels, no fenders, no roll cages, sometimes even no wheelie bars, no kill switches, no fire suits or helmets. They were the barnstorming days of the sport. But of course now you see with a full roll cage on all these tractors, wide fronts on them. Under the wide front of the tractor they have these ROPs. In case the front wheel should break, it will prevent the front weight bracket from digging down into the track. I've seen a couple of times that they'll dig down and buckle the frame under the tractor. But right now backed into the sled is Fred Hoke. On a Case 970 he calls never enough. Well, he's got the green flag from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, on the big case. Mr. Fred Hoke on Never Enough. Something let go. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Fred Hoke, ladies and gentlemen. Something let go on the engine. Hopefully it's not too bad. I don't know if something let go on the injector pump or what. Hopefully it's just something with the injector pump. 123.18. But he's got his helmet off. Give him a nice round of applause for Fred Hoke, ladies and gentlemen. He came all the way from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. Of course, with all these mechanical machines, yeah, there's some prone to failure. I know a couple years ago I was at an event and I was on a good run and the ignition system on my tractor completely went haywire. Found out I burned up the ignition system, had to replace the entire ignition system. I could not come back and compete in the other classes, and I'll tell you what, that was very disappointing. So I know how it feels when you have mechanical problems. But Fred, let's hope you can get her back together and you get her going again. But let's give him a nice round of applause as he goes away. Fred Hoke, thank you for coming out here to Liberty Town. Hope he can get her fixed and get her ready for the next event. Well, backing into the sled right now, this is Greg Gress. Greg hails out of Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Another 970 case that he calls the Eagle Light. Of course, with these tractors, one turbocharger, 466 cubic inches is the limit. They do allow to run intercoolers on these tractors. He's got a good tight hitch. Green light's on the Terminator sled. Looking down the track, it's in all clear. The green flag drops. Ladies and gentlemen, from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania, driving the Eagle Light case, Mr. Greg Gress. Good run for Greg Gress, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, got a little fire coming out of the exhaust. That was our last competing tractor in the class. Without them, we could put this great show on for you here tonight. saw out here with the green machine. Of course, he was for taking care of getting this pool together. Eddie Shelton for taking care of the food. And Kenny Stein for keeping all the beer cold at the beer garden. Thank you, gentlemen, for all your work to put this great pool together. Right now, I hear the tractors getting ready to run in the pull-off. Right now, Marcus Groff is at the sled with his GMC. It's a cat-powered rollback out of Union Bridge, Maryland. DDM Auto Towing. He's just going to see what this old truck can do. Hopefully he don't break down. They have to get a rollback to get him off. But he's doing pretty good. No, he broke from the sled. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, that was a stock truck. Now, could you imagine if that thing turned 1,000 horsepower and the wheels were turning about 80 to 90 miles an hour? He'd be halfway to, halfway to Newmarket. But let's give him a nice round of applause for Marcus Groff. He was just trying this old rollback out. Of course, he sits it. Well, I'll tell you what, I'm having a lot of fun here tonight. My statisticians, I'll tell you what, you know, they're supposed to keep me straight because I'm supposed to be the one off the chains. But I'll tell you what, these two have been off the chains all night. It's like, who's supposed to keep who straight up here at the announce booth? But we're having a lot of fun, but we'll see how this pull-off goes. Right now, Mark Smith is backing into the sled. He's our first puller in this pull-off. Three-way pull-off to determine our winner here tonight. Well, Mark Smith hails out of Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, has a Ford 9000, built back in the 1960s, sharp-looking Ford. Now, I'm an IH man myself, but I'll tell you what, I do like the looks of this Ford. It's a really sharp-looking tractor. But let's see what he can do here in the pull-off. He's our first one in the pull-off. He's getting a good tight hitch. Now you see that white smoke coming out of the exhaust? That is actually steam. They actually burn 1 gallon of water, 3 gallons of fuel. So let's see what he can do here in the pull-off from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania, Mr. Mark Smith. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, he took it for a ride. Mark Smith from Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. We'll have the mark for him. An hour. Now, some of your modifieds turn at about 80 miles an hour wheel speed. First, you get up to the big multi-engine tractors, like you see on the Grand National Circuit. The unlimited tractors can turn wheel speeds of in excess of 160 miles an hour. Even though they're going at a ground speed of about 40 miles an hour, those big 31-inch wide tires are turning 160 miles an hour. Well, backed into the sled right now, out of Clifford Township, Pennsylvania. This is Jeff Michelacci, driving a Case IH Puma 140 that he calls the Demented. Jeff has been pulling for a long time. Former Keystone Nationals champion in this class. And I'll tell you, it only takes one tractor to upset the big domination of the Fords. He's the only red one in the class. So you Case IH fans, chant up and cheer for him. Let's see what he can do here in the pull-off. From Clifford Township, Pennsylvania, driving the Demented, Mr. Jeff Michelacci. Wow, that was close, ladies and gentlemen. Well, mark for you in just a minute on his distance. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Jeff. Mechanically sound, they look absolutely gorgeous. A lot of events do a best show and shine for some of these pullers. And I'll tell you what, they'll spend countless hours polishing, making the tractors looking as immaculate as possible. We'll back it into the sled right now. This is Justin Martin. Justin hails out of Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania. He's the last man in the class. And the mark he's got to beat is 316.52, and that's held by Mark Smith. Like I say, the pull isn't over till the last person hooks to the sled. So let's see what he does out here in the pull-off. The green flag drops on him. Ladies and gentlemen, from Upper Strasburg, Pennsylvania, driving the big New Holland, Mr. Justin Martin. Good run for Justin Martin, ladies and gentlemen. Well, we got a measurement here in just a moment. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to start with the Rung What You Brung semis. Our first puller comes from Mount Airy, Maryland, 2001 International. Running a big cat engine under the hood. Zach Gilday is driving. Of course, these are the street semis, of course, back in 1988 when they started pulling the semis. Of course, like tractor pulling, the semis now have their own pro class known as the Big Rig Series. Of course, some of you may know the big Peterbilt cab over of Tom Lindsay out of Duncansville, Pennsylvania. Of course, that truck there turns about 4,000 horsepower, 1,160 cubic inch Cummins engine on his truck. But this one's a stock truck right off the street. Let's see what he can do here from Mount Airy, Maryland, Mr. Zach Gilday. I don't know what happened. He just shut down. We'll find out here in a moment why he shut down. Oh, they say the reflector's too low. They can't see it over top of the truck. I think we're going to do is let the truck pull away. Well, we're going to find out what happened to Zach Gilday from Mount Airy. Landscape Services, A1 Telecommunications, Stauffer Funeral Homes, Mid-Atlantic Farm Credit, Andrew Matthias Dobler, Corn Seed, and Red Ridge Farm Supply. I'd like to big thank you to all our sponsors. Without our sponsors, we couldn't bring you this great event. Of course, a big thank you to all the volunteers that gave a lot of their time to help put this show together. Well, we got a truck there at the sled, and I don't know who this is, if this is Skippy Reese or... I don't know what's going on here. Is this Skippy Reese that's right now onto the track? All right, this is Skippy Reese, ladies and gentlemen, from Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Let's see what he can do out here from Greencastle, Pennsylvania, Mr. Skippy Reese. Turned up a little bit. Let's give a nice round of applause for Skippy Reese, ladies and gentlemen. Now this is the dad to Buster Adams. We have a purple one. That's a kid. Well, it was supposed to be Buster Adams, or Woody Adams. Coming up to the sled is Mike Wessenberger. I'm guessing because that's a Kenworth coming to the sled right now. Well, it's a little mix-up as they're having to change the hitches on these trucks. But this is Mike Wessenberger. He hails out of Sykesville, Maryland, up here in Carroll County. This is a Kenworth. Nice paint job on this semi. Let's see what he can do out here tonight. The mark to beat is 334.78. So as he gets a good tight hitch. Green lights on the sled. Track's all clear. Flagman looks down, waiting for the all clear. Green flag drops. Ladies and gentlemen, from Sykesville, Maryland, driving the big Kenworth, Mike Wessenberger. Good run for Mike Wessenberger, ladies and gentlemen, from Sykesville, Maryland. Well, looks like we got a Mack Superliner. I don't know if that's Woody Adams. Well, here comes the Mack Superliner. But this is Woody Adams, ladies and gentlemen. This is the dad to Buster Adams you saw with the big Dodge. Of course, Buster does a lot of the engine work to this truck. Calls this truck not a V8. So this must have a 6-cylinder Mack engine in it. The Mack Superliners did have a V8 diesel in them. So we're going to see what he does out here. Of course, WW Adams Enterprise is one of our sponsors here. We'd like to thank you, Woody, for being a sponsor for this great event last night and tonight. The green light's on the sled. Tell them to go ahead and get a good tight hitch. The green flag drops. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mount Airy, Maryland, on Not a V8, Mr. Woody Adams. What a good run for Woody Adams, ladies and gentlemen. Let's give him a nice round of applause for Woody Adams. He's one of our sponsors with W.W. Adams Enterprises. Big Mac Superliner. Franks. We have 2 Kenworths also in this class. We have half-price food at the food booth, excluding the crab cakes. So if you're hungry, want to get something to eat, it's half price except for the crab cakes. So you go ahead and go up to the food booth. Want to thank the Lions Club for their food booth here tonight. Right now, backed into the sled is Benny Franks. Benny hails out of Elk Ridge, Maryland. Big 2010 Kenworth W900L. So we'll see what he does right now. Right now, the mark to beat is 334.78 by Skippy Reese. So that's the mark he's got to beat, 334.78. Right now, he's getting all hooked up. Of course, trying to get backed up into the sled. A little difficult to see with the big comfort cab on the back. Of course, I'd like to say a big thank you to all the volunteers from last night and tonight for helping out with this great event. So right now it's still Benny Franks. We don't know what's going on with the slate. All right, the green light's on the sled. Starting line flagman looks down the track. Green flag drops. Ladies and gentlemen, from Elk Ridge, Maryland, driving the big Kenworth, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Benny Franks. Hey, Matt, hold the sled for a little bit till the truck gets out of the way where we can get a measurement. Thank you. Let's give a nice round of applause for Benny Franks. Benny hails out of Elk Ridge, Maryland with a big Kenworth as he goes away from the sled. We will have a measurement for you in Well, fans, are you enjoying this Run What You Brung semi-class here tonight? Yes, of course, we got a couple of Macs, and I know there's quite a few people that probably have worked up at the Mack truck plant up in Hagerstown. Well, here comes the other Mack Superliner. Well, this is Albert Brown. Albert hails out of Newmanstown, Pennsylvania. 85 Mack. This has got the V8 diesel in it. The big 800 cubic inch V8 Mack engine that they put in these Superliners. So we'll see what he does out here. Getting a good tight hitch. He's got a good tight hitch. Green light's on the sled right now. Green flag drops. From Normanstown, Pennsylvania, ladies and gentlemen, the back in black, Albert Brown. Albert Brown, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to look down the top three. The top three right now is Skippy Reese. Second right now is Albert Brown. And third currently is Woody Adams. There's the top three right now, but Les Bear may change up the top three. Top three will come back for a pull-off. Well, he's backed up into the sled. Trying to get him all hooked up. Well, fans, I've enjoyed calling the shots here last night and tonight. Like I say, we got the carnival coming up the 17th through the 22nd. If you want to see more interstate polling, you can go under the Interstate's website, or EasternExtremePolling.com also has their schedules. But if you'd like to see all sorts of tractor polling from not only the Interstate Pollers, the East Coast Series Pollers, and the Antique Pollers, of course you can check all the websites out, get all the schedules for all the great polling events throughout the 4th State region. Right now, the green light is on the sled. Getting a good tight hitch. The green flag drops, ladies and gentlemen, from Mercersburg, Pennsylvania, Mr. Les Bear. Good run for Les Bear, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have the distance for you in just a moment. Let's give a nice round of applause for Les Bear out of Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. And we'll see what happens. Right now, backing into the sled is Skippy Reese. Well, I'll tell you, I've had a lot of fun here last night and tonight with my statisticians. They've been keeping me straight, but I don't know. I've been keeping them straight. It's been kind of a give or take on this, but they've been a lot of fun. Melanie Foster and Ashley Rippian, they've been my statisticians tonight. I'd like to say thank you. You've done a great job last night and tonight. But of course, you know, they're supposed to keep me straight because I'm too far off the chains, but I think the roles got reversed this last night tonight. They've been off the chains. But they've been a lot of fun. They've been keeping the numbers straight, and I do appreciate it. And I also like to thank everyone in the registration booth. They've done an excellent job getting all the classes lined up for us. Right now, the first puller in this pull-off, he's got a green flag from Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Driving the last minute, this is Mr. Skippy Reese. I'll tell you what, he had that thing turned up. Did you see the fire out of the exhaust? Well, I'll tell you what, that's kind of a no-no with these turbocharged engines. W. Adams Enterprises, one of our sponsors here tonight. Woody hails out of Mount Airy, Maryland. His son Buster Adams does the engine work on this truck. Sharp-looking 1988 Max Superliner. So let's see what we can do here in the pull-off. 344 by Skippy Reese. He's holding the number 1 spot, so that's what he's got to do better than 344. So let's see what we can do. Ladies and gentlemen, from Mount Airy, Maryland, Woody Adams. Good run for Woody Adams, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see where that puts him in the class. Truck he calls not a V8. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we were just talking here with my statistician. Here we're talking about the husband and wife pulling team that runs these big super semis. Of course, everyone knows the big cab over Kenworth of Tom Lindsay, the Built for Business. Of course, his wife has a Peterbilt that's called the Red Hot and Rollin'. Of course, everyone knows the Red Hot and Rollin'. When she gets down the track, she lights the sparklers on the markers on her rig. Nice little light show she does on the truck. Right now, the last man hooked up to the sled, this is Albert Brown. Albert from Newmanstown, Pennsylvania. Let's see what he can do in the pull-off. Driving the big Mack Superliner that's called Back in Black, Mr. Albert Brown. Good run for Albert Brown. We'll get the distance for you in just a moment. Well, he's backing up into the sled with his big Dodge. Well, I think they're making some adjustments to the sled, lighten her up a little bit. Well, we're going to see what he does with his Dodge. They're making some adjustments to the sled where he can make a nice exhibition run. Well, fans, I'd like to thank you for coming out to the Libertytown Carnival grounds. I'd like to say a big thank you to all our volunteers. Everyone that helped out at this event, we do appreciate it. And fans, we do thank you for coming out to the Libertytown pool here this year. And it's been my pleasure to call the shots for you here this evening. If you want to see more interstate pulling, we got interstate pulling at the Montgomery County Fair Monday, August the 17th. And it'll start at 7:30. And again, if you all have some of the antique tractors, you want to take them out and run them on the track. Tuesday night, August the 18th at the Jefferson County Fair. Antique tractor pulling will start at 6:30. Well, he's got a good tight hitch. I see the green lights on the sled. They're going to tighten the hitch up on him. And let's see what he can do out here on the track. Well, let's see what he can do out here from Emmitsburg, Maryland, ladies and gentlemen, on his 2002 Dodge, Mr. Brad Hoffman. Good run for Brad Hoffman, ladies and gentlemen, from Emmitsburg, Maryland. We'll have the measurement for you in just a moment. Attention to the interstate.